Quick question that trips up almost everyone getting into tech. What's actually the difference between software developer and a software engineer? Are they two genuinely different careers, or is it just two names for the same job? And companies are picking whichever one sounds better on the job posting. Let's actually break it down. 1. The core difference. Here's the simplest way to frame it. A software developer primarily focuses on building softwares. A software engineer tends to think more about the bigger system, how everything is designed, connected, maintained, and able to scale. I want to be upfront that this isn't a strict rule. In the real world, companies use these two titles interchangeably all the time. You'll see identical job description with different labels slapped on top, but even with the overlap, there's still a real different mindset between the two roles. And understanding it will genuinely help you as you figure out where you fit. Here is an analogy that makes it click instantly. 2. The car analogy. Picture a car. A car has a braking system, a cooling system, an engine, and a power system, air conditioning, dozens of other components, each doing its own specific job. You could have different mechanics, each specializing in one of those systems. One person lifts and breathes brake. Another touches only the cooling system. Someone else is the engine specialist. Each of them is excellent at building, repairing, and improving their one piece. But somebody also has to think about the entire vehicle. How do all these systems work together? How should they be designed from the start so they don't conflict each other? How do you make sure a change to the cooling system doesn't quietly overheat the engine in 6 months later? How do you make the whole vehicle reliable, efficient, and safe as one connected machine? That's the engineering mindset, and it maps almost perfectly onto software. 3. Applying it to software. Picture a large web application instead of a car. You've got front-end developers working in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and back-end developers working in Node.js, Python, Java, or whatever the stack calls for. Database specialists deep in SQL. You might even have people focus specifically on cloud infrastructure, security, testing, or DevOps. Each person owns their piece, but somebody has to think about how all of those pieces actually fit together. How does the front end talk to the back end? How does the back end talk to the database? How does the whole system hold up under 1 million concurrent users instead of 10? And how do you design it so that shipping a new feature 6 months from now doesn't quietly break 3 things nobody thought to test? How do you keep technical depths snowballing into the kind of problem that takes a full quarter to unwind? That's the software engineering mindset in action. Software developer might be handed a specific, well-scoped task. Build a login system, create this API, build this dashboard, connect this application to the database. And a software engineer might do every single one of those tasks. The difference is what happens before the first line of code. The engineer is more likely to step back and ask, how should this entire system be designed so it works today? It still works when the company has 10 times the users. That's a bigger picture thinking the car analogy points at. A mechanic can be a brilliant at one system. An engineer thinks about how every system interacts with each other. 4. Why the titles barely matters. Here's the part I want you to actually walk away with more than any definition. Don't get too attached to the job title. You'll absolutely find companies calling someone a software developer who is doing exactly what another company will call a software engineer. Work architecture decisions, system design, all of it. And you find people with software engineer on their badge who spends most of their days writing focused feature level code, no different from a developer elsewhere. The title tells you almost nothing on its own. Skills are what actually matter. Whatever you end up calling yourself, a developer or an engineer, you need to know how to write codes, solve problems, design systems that hold up under pressure, collaborate with other engineers, ship software that actually works in production, not just on your machine. If you are trying to break into tech, stop spending energy debating which title sounds more impressive on LinkedIn. Spend that energy becoming someone who can build, solve, think like an engineer, regardless of what's printed on the offer letter. Because at the end of the day, no company is hiring you for the title. They are hiring you because you can solve problems and build things that actually matter. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.